Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. The death toll from Russia's missile attacks on Ukrainian cities now stands at 19 people, with more than 100 wounded. According to Ukraine State Emergency Services, strikes continued today for a second day, leaving western Ukraine in the region of Lviv without electricity. Officials say the attack targeted infrastructure. Siren air raid warnings were in place all morning in Kiev after missile strikes at the nation's capital Monday. Russia's attacks on Ukraine were widely condemned at the United Nations Monday as world leaders met to vote on a resolution opposing Russia's recent annexation of eastern Ukraine. Christopher Martinez reports.
Ukrainian Ambassador Sergei Kizlytsya, who has lost family members in the war, says his immediate family was in a building under attack Monday, unable to go to a bomb shelter because of a power blackout.
Suffering defeats on the battlefield, Russia takes it out on the peaceful residents of Ukrainian cities. Today's strike killed at least 14 civilians and 97 were wounded. Deliberate targeting of civilians is a war crime.
Although we spoke at length about the attacks, Kizlytsya did bring things back to the topic of the agenda, namely a European Union-backed resolution condemning Russia's annexation of parts of the Ukrainian provinces of Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. Russia's ambassador, Vasily Nebenzia, defended Russia's claimed annexation, as he did the whole Russian invasion.
Once again, we are being accused when we are trying to protect our brothers and sisters in eastern Ukraine.
Nebenzia described a nefarious plot by NATO to use Ukraine against Russia.
To overcome, to be victorious, or at least severely undermine Russia.
The General Assembly is expected to vote later this week on a resolution condemning annexation. I'm Christopher Martinez.
U.S. President Joe Biden will meet with the Group of Seven counterparts during a virtual summit today to condemn Russia's recent strikes on Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will also address the Group of Seven. Meanwhile, Russia's Foreign Secretary Sergei Lavrov says it's possible President Vladimir Putin could meet with U.S. President Joe Biden at the G20 Group of 20 nations next month. The chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Democrat Bob Menendez of New Jersey, says he will block all future U.S. weapons sales to Saudi Arabia as backlash over OPEC's recent decision to cut oil production and push up gas prices. Menendez said in a statement Monday OPEC's plan to slash production by 2 million barrels a day in a bid to prop up oil prices artificially amounts to a decision to help underwrite Russia's war. Russia stands to benefit from higher oil prices without having to reduce its own production. Menendez said in a statement, quote, "It's time for our foreign policy to imagine a world without this alliance with these royal backstabbers," unquote. Civil rights leaders will gather in front of Los Angeles City Hall this morning to demand 3 Latino city council members who were on tape making racist, anti-black statements during a redistricting conversation resign, and State Attorney General Rob Bonta investigate them for potential civil rights violations to disenfranchise blacks from the vote. The letter from a coalition of civil rights and black leaders says they believe the redistricting process that was manipulated by council members Nuri Martinez, Gil Cedillo, and Kevin De Leon and Los Angeles' Labor Federation president was made for personal and political gain based on the content of the conversations. In the tapes, Martinez criticizes a white city council member, Mike Bonin, and his adopted black son and threatens physical violence against the then 2-year-old, warning the statements can be triggering.
They're raising him like a little white kid, which I was like, this kid needs a beat down. Like, let me take him around the corner and then I'll bring him back.
Yeah.
¿Sí me entiendes? Ven para acá.
It's a pinch. Something.
Yeah.
But yes, he's the fourth black.
So anyways, getting back to redistricting.
They also talk about redistricting and what it would mean for the black community to lose a district in which they made racist tropes against minority communities and slammed Bonin for supporting the black community. Martinez has stepped down as council president, but no city council member has resigned. 28 people are dead after Hurricane Julia wrecked Guatemala and El Salvador with rain after reemerging in the Pacific as a downgraded tropical storm. Julia is believed to have directly or indirectly caused the deaths of 14 people in Guatemala, 4 in Honduras, 9 in El Salvador, and 1 in Nicaragua. In the U.S., Nebraska Senator Republican Ben Sasse faced questions and protests during his visit to the University of Florida Monday. He's poised to become the school's president, but has drawn criticism for his stance on same-sex marriage and other LGBTQ issues. About 1,000 people rallied. Catherine Carley has more.
University of Florida students and faculty interrupted an event attended by the school's next potential president, Republican Senator Ben Sasse. Protesters say Sasse's opposition to same-sex marriage make him the wrong candidate for the job. Sasse responded by saying the Supreme Court's decision on same-sex marriage is the law of the land. I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
And the nation's third largest railroad union has rejected a labor contract deal, renewing the possibility of a strike that could cripple the economy as soon as next month. Both sides will return to the bargaining table before that happens. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.